Hello, family. I trust this message finds you in good spirits. Today, I would like to share a profound exposition on dealing with a difficult spouse. We will look into the life of Nabal and Abigail as our case study, okay, which is taken from the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25, from verse 3 to 38. From verse 3 to 38. Okay, so before we go deep, I would like to explain this. Nabal can be a man or a woman because we are using these two people as a case study. And when you deal about marriage, we are talking about a man and a woman here. So Nabal can represent a man or a woman. The same with Abigail. Abigail can represent a man or a woman. It's not gender specific. Even though that Nabal is a male in this case study, in the word here, and Abigail is a woman, but as a case study here, please, Abigail and Nabal is not gender specific. It can represent a man or a woman, because I have to make this clear before somebody will conclude that the message is for men, that men are difficult. It's only men that are difficult, women are not difficult. No, it's not true. In my 10 years experience as a marriage counselor, I've witnessed women that are very difficult and men as well as men that are difficult. So as we are going through this, please bear in mind that this Nabal and Abigail, they are not gender specific. So now, before we go deeper into this, who is even a difficult person? How can we define a difficult person? Most people have heard, they have said their own aspect of who a difficult person should be. But my own definition of a difficult person is a person who lacks empathy. Yes, a person who lacks empathy. And what is empathy? Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It involves being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand their emotions, perspective, and experiences. That is a person, and empathy is a person that is flexible. Okay, a person that is not rigid in character, is not rigid in ideas and values, is not rigid in perspective, is a person that is flexible, ability to see other person's ideas, to reason with them, understand them, and being cautious of what he or she does or says that can harm the next person. Okay, they are always on that. They have at the back of their mind the consequences of any actions they are about to take. So before they take any actions or before they say anything, they first of all ponder on the consequences. And these consequences is not only going to affect them alone, but others around them. So anyone that that has this empathy in them is always flexible. But a difficult person is rigid. Yes, they are very rigid. They don't care how you feel. They don't care who else is God, and you cannot even advise them on anything that they are ready to accept your advice. They are argumentative. They are very stubborn. They are extremely saucy and vulgar. Okay, so as we go deeper into this, I want us to keep an open mind in going through dealing with a difficult spouse. So when we go to the book of First Samuel, let's read what the book of Samuel explains who a difficult spouse is. What the characters that Nabal and Abigail have distinctively, which is First Samuel 25 verse 3. I read, now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail. And she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doings, and he was of the house of Caleb. Good. Now, each of them have two distinctive characters that made them distinctive from each other. Now, Abigail was explained here as a woman of good understanding. So before I go further to explain this good understanding, let's even define what good understanding is. Good understanding is having a mutual comprehension about something. It's also about having clarity, agreement in communication in relationships. A good understanding. Now, I know most of us will ask questions. I've heard messages where people were criticizing those who were unfortunate to marry a difficult spouse. They will say, did you not see it? Did you not date the person? Did you not see these traits before you say, yes, I do? Did you not see these traits before you decide to spend the rest of your lives with them? But the question is, a person of good understanding will always fall for Nabals. Yes. A person of good understanding, if not well checked, okay, will always end up marrying a difficult spouse. Why? Why do I say that? A person that has good understanding, I have treated that on the bondage of wisdom, which is when a person is has a very good understanding, they tend to have to explain away the negative traits that they sense in a person while dating them. They always find a way to give excuses on their behalf. Either they will jump into conclusions. Can't you see? This is how their families are. This is how people from their place, this is how they behave. So it's not unique to her. It's not really that she's a bad person. She's erratic. She's quick to anger. And, the mother pampered her too much, or the father pampered him too much. He was so pampered. So you find yourself, a person of understanding always have excuses for people's behavior, both negative and positive. So if a person of good understanding is not well tutored and well guided, you'll find yourself being around people that are so difficult to deal with. But because of your understanding, you say, oh, everybody now must not be like me. I know how to handle them. I know I can handle it. So a person of understanding is a person that, if you read this chapter from verse 2, you find that the Bible explained that, and there was a man in Moan whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep. You see, he's rich, he's well-to-do, he's intelligent, he's smart, okay? Maybe he's a high-profile person. So when a woman of good understanding comes across such a man, you will not say he's okay, he's financially stable, I can manage other of his excesses, which most times a difficult person would not show you the true colors of who they really are or what they intend to do in your life. They only show the traits that is commonly seen, which is quick to anger, argumentative, stubborn, which can be easily explained away. So that's why people like Abigail ends up marrying a Nabal, because of the quality of this good understanding that they have. The next one, he said that Abigail is of a beautiful countenance. Now, what does this beautiful countenance says? It says it refers to a person's attractive or pleasing facial expression or appearance. Is a person of charm, grace, and radiance. Any man or woman that is of a beautiful countenance is easily what word am I going to use now? The Nabals gets them, they always attract Nabals to them. Is normal, because Nabals have high taste. Nabals likes, because they are proud in nature. They are very proud. They like the best around them. They always go for the best. If he's a man, he will go for the woman that has the most beautiful countenance whatsoever. A woman that is smart, that is intelligent, beautiful to behold. If he's a woman, he will go for the man that is, rich, have this attractive aura around him, domineering attitude, aura around him. You see her, she will fall head over heels for him. And most times, because of their riches and easy access to other opportunities, the women fall victim of such men. So now, the distinctive character of a difficult person, according to 1 Samuel chapter 25, he said that, but the man was churlish and evil in his doings. Okay? Now, what is this churlish? Churlish. What does it mean? He said it describes someone who is rude, ill-mannered, or sully in behavior, someone unpleasant and difficult to deal with. Ha ha! Did you see that? You see? So, even the Bible recognized Nabal as a very difficult person. So, it describes someone, first, he's rude, they are ill-mannered. It's not that they are not trained. They don't like to be trained by anybody. Any little good you see in them is they become that good because it will favor them, not because of the next person. They become that good because it will favor them. Anything that does not favor them, they don't care whosoever it is that gives them the training. Because a man that is rich is have access to any kind of knowledge, but they will never choose knowledge over anything. They are the god of themselves. They are the master of themselves. They don't believe anybody can teach them anything. That's why most Nabals do well in career. Yes, they do well in their career. They do well in business. Why? They don't want to be servant to anybody. The last thing a Nabal will do, both a man and a woman, is to sit idle and someone else will feed them. They will rather kill. So whenever they are fighting for anything, they put in all. And because of their nature, they are shrewd. They don't care who they are stepping on their toes. As long as they get access to that money, they are ready to go as far as they can to make that money. Because they believe money gives them power. And that power gives them control. And that control makes them to manipulate whosoever that comes around them. Okay, so the Bible here explains that Nabal does what? They are someone that is rude, ill-mannered. We have explained it. And sorry in behavior, someone unpleasant or difficult to deal with. And the next one says, he is evil in his doings. It refers to someone who engages in morally wrong or malicious actions. It suggests that the person is intentionally causing harm, displaying wickedness, or acting in a manner contrary to ethical standards. Yes, anything they do, they know what they are doing. Why? The more pain people around them are, the happier it makes them. So if you are married to a difficult person, you will find out that it seems anything that will make you happy, that is the opposite of what they will do. They cannot stand you to be happy. Anything that makes you happy becomes a target. Anything that makes you comfortable becomes a problem. They can unconsciously or rather consciously deny you of things that will make you happy. Yes. That's why if you're married to a Nabal, you will find out that whatever money you will have must come from you. It will never come from them. Any money that will come from them will enter your hand mistakenly. They are not givers, especially those close to them. Mostly their spouses, because they are the one that is most close to them. Okay, as we go further, I will be explaining why it was so. So now, as a Nabal and as an Abigail, let's go further. Abigail So there was a man called David. To explain their kind of person, there was a man called David, which is verse 4. He said, and David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did share his sheep. So at that time, David and his men, they were in the wilderness and they saw the shepherds with the sheep of Nabal. About, in the second verse, he said that he has about 3,000 sheep. So you can imagine when shepherds went into the wilderness with about 3,000 sheep. So, which most times, if they fall victim of bandits in the wilderness, they will end up stealing some of these sheep, even kill the shepherds to acquire their sheep. That is the kind of life, that kind of things that happened at that time. So, but David, when David saw these guys and the sheep, they now became a bodyguard to them to make sure none of those sheep was lost. They guided them, protected them morning and night until they are done sharing the sheep. They now went home and went to their master to explain why they had this success. Probably previously, if they go for such a journey, they will end up, some will lose their life, they will lose a lot of things, and some will run home half wounded, or some will just barely escape with their life. So they went to Nabal to explain the testimonies that have happened because of the presence of David. And after explaining to him, the young men that David sent and said, go and tell this man, because we helped him, tell him to give us some food to eat. Okay? And let's keep going. And he now said, in verse 8, the verse 8 said, ask your young men, and they will show you. Wherefore, let the young men find favor in your eyes, for we come in a good day. Give, I pray you, whatsoever comes to your hand, unto your servants and to your son David. And when David's young men came, they spoke to Nabal concerning to all those words in the name of David, and ceased. Guess what? Verse 10 says, and Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants nowadays who break away every man from his master. Shall I take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my sharers and give it unto men whom I know not where they come from? Now, I don't know if you truly understand the weight of what I just read. This is a man whose 3,000 sheep were protected in the wilderness. These men risked their own lives, left every other thing they are doing to stand guard to these shepherds who has nothing but a rod in their hand, guided them from wild animals, guarded them from bandits, protected them, probably escort them to a place they know they will be safe enough to go get home. And ask for this man who has so much that feeding David and his men won't cost him nothing. But because Nabal's a difficult person, does not have the consciousness to help anybody that they know that needed their help. Instead, just like it was explained that he was surely, he does what? He insulted him and even make remarks about David that is a lie, just to find ways to belittle David and his men. And why that's happened is for us to understand who a difficult person is. They don't care the sacrifice you make for them. They are not seeing it. No matter the sacrifice you make, it is never enough. No matter what you do, it is never enough because they can't see what you're saying. The only thing they see is themselves. The only thing they do is for themselves. The only life they live is for themselves. And when they die for themselves. So any other thing that will benefit the next person, they are not sacrificial. If they love you, their love is conditional. Okay, whatever it is that you need to prove, it is you that will prove it. It is the Abigail's that will prove it, not the Nabal. So upon all the David have done, and which is at that time, it is a normal thing. If somebody protected you, you give them funds, you help them in one way or the other. Instead, he insulted them because whatever thing that happens, he doesn't care. One, Nabals don't care for those who beneath them. Anyone that is of their lowest standard around them, they treat them like animals. The only people they can accord a little respect if someone that is in the same cabal, financial cabals with them. That's why they can do anything to make money. That will be in the same financial cabal. That's the only people they can give access, to eat with, to chat with, to be in the same church with, to be in the same platform in the ministry or in the career, wherever it is. But once you are beneath them intellectually, financially, emotionally, they will treat you like a slave. So when he did that, the news went back to David. This man did not appreciate what we did for him, and David got upset. David now said, by tomorrow morning, there will be no male that will be alive in that house. Do you see? They don't care the consequences of their actions. He knew insulting David could warrant war. Yet he doesn't care because he knows if the war comes, everybody will protect him. It is his servants that will die. So if everybody in his house dies, he doesn't care. You understand? So that you understand who a difficult person is. So when the time came, what happened? They now sent word. One of the servants now went to Abigail and said, which is verse 14, said, but one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. Railed means to complain or criticize vehemently, often in a loud or aggressive manner. Let's continue. But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them. We were in the fields. They were a war unto us, both by night and day. All the while we were with them, keeping the sheep. Now, therefore, know and consider what you will do. This is a servant telling Abigail now. Now, therefore, know and consider what you will do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household. For he is such a son of Belial that a man cannot speak to him. Did you hear that? A servant is now describing his master that he's a man, he's a son of a Belial. Belial, a Belial, that a man cannot speak to him. So the servants knew going to Nabal is a waste of time because he's not going to listen. That's why if you are married to a Nabal, you are the one that will be treating their sheets. You are the one that will be, solving all the mess they get themselves into. You are the one that will bring in the ideas, that will bring them out of. You are the one explaining, because everywhere they go, they keep messing up. Everywhere they go, everything they do, they mess up. You will keep being the one, covering all those things, managing it, managing your own life, managing their own life. You find yourself, when I get to the effect of marrying a difficult person, I believe it will help us. So what is this Belial? Belial, what does it mean? It's interpreted as a demon. Hello, did this sound familiar? is sometimes interpreted as a demon or a personification of evil because it is associated with darkness, temptation, and moral corruption. Did you get that? So most person that is difficult has the spirit of Belial in them. Is a spirit. And most times that spirit can be explained, can be called schizophrenia. It can be said that a person is a sociopath, a psychopath, or have a childhood trauma, or is suffering from PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. Is a mental health condition triggered by a terrifying event, either by experiencing it or witnessing it. Okay, so this spirit, which is Belial, most times they'll say that the person has schizophrenia, the person is psychopath, is sociopath, bipolar, childhood trauma, name it, is a mental defect. That spirit dwells in the brain. It deals with the person's psychology. Okay, that's why so many difficult spouses are mentally not okay. Let's call it what it is. Most difficult spouses are not mentally okay. You know, because of our traditions and culture, the only person we call a mad person, we can term a person crazy or mad is when the person runs the street naked and speaking gibberish. We now say that the person has gone mad. Or when the person turns violent, we now say the person is insane. But most times, most sick people wear clothes, speak normal, answers their name, goes to work, do their work very well. Academically they are sound, business-wise, career, they are sound, but they are not okay. As you can see here about Nabal, he's not okay. Even his servants knew he's not okay. So they knew going to him is a waste of time. They have to go to Abigail. Now, when they approached Abigail, what did Abigail do? Abigail did what? She went and made some meat, took some wine, baked some bread, some other things, and carried it with her and some of the servants and put it on donkeys and start going towards David. And by the time she got to David, by the time she's done speaking to David, David said, wow, this woman is something else. You have delivered me from taking vengeance in my own hands. And David accepted the gift that she brought. And she said something, which is dealing with a difficult person. She said something. She said, when the Lord finally makes you the king over Israel, please remember me. Dealing with a difficult spouse, number one, a prayer of rescue. Because there is nothing to tell you on how to handle a person that is spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically sick. There is nothing in character-wise that can change a fool. Yes, correction does not change. I love the way Mike Murdoch put it. He mentioned a lot of things. He said, all these things cannot change a fool. Your gifts cannot change a fool. Correction cannot change a fool. Yes. Negotiation does not change a fool. A fool is a fool. The only way you can rescue yourself from a fool is a simple prayer of rescue. And that prayer, when you are praying a prayer of rescue, value relationships. Because rescue can come in so many ways. Rescue can come through friendship. It can come through business. It can come through anyhow. It can come through sickness. Yes, they might become sick. In the process of being sick, you will now regain yourself. I'm not praying for anybody to get sick. Please don't get me wrong. I'm only trying to explain here that dealing with a mentally unstable person, the first prayer you have to pray is rescue. Because most times divorcing this kind of a person is hell. Most people that are known that have divorced these people, they have ways of making life hell for you. Especially if you have kids with them. Because their lives, they will make sure they entangle you with everything that has to do with them. They entangle you in their mess, that by the time you divorce them, you spend years trying to entangle yourself from their mess. And most of the times, you'll be so drained that you will not have strength to go into any other relationship. They will put you in such a place that even when you are separated from them, you find it difficult to move on. So the greatest thing you will do living with a difficult spouse is prayer of rescue. Number 2, like we derive from the life of Abigail, you must have a very attentive ears. You must build your tentacles to be very strong. If not that Abigail treated her servants well, she accommodates them, give them room to have access to her, they wouldn't have come to her to tell her what was going on. Another woman in the Bible that have the same quality is Esther. Esther is a queen in the life of Exodus. I don't know how to pronounce that kind of name. But when she was told that Haman is about to destroy the Jews, she called her servants. The servants knew she was a Jew, but they did not disclose it to anyone else. It takes a woman who knows, who values her ears, who values her tentacles, knowing that marrying such a person like Nabal, if you need the ears of others to stay alive. Yes, imagine if Abigail was not good to her servants. She could not give them access to bring news to her, to tell her what goes on, the mess the man have made, so that she can know the one she can correct and stay alive. Imagine if the servants would have found ways to run away, or even decide immediately David will come, they will surrender to be a slave unto him. And who will die? Abigail will die. They will kill everything and destroy every work she has made for herself. Okay? So the second thing is build tentacles, value relationships. Don't let their difficult nature influence you to become who they are. No. Number 3, be financially stable. Find something doing. Yes. If you cannot do business, if you're study. Because they can send you to school to prove to others. If you are a woman, maybe school. Gather all the certificates you can. Learn all you can. Acquire all the knowledge that you can. If it's straight, make sure your hand is fine doing something. There are so many things you can do online that will fetch you money. Do it. So imagine now when she was told that David and his men is coming for the husband and his household, and she doesn't have sheep to shred. She doesn't have anything to prepare. What would have happened? What would she take to David to appease him not to come and destroy everything that they have? So you need to be financially stable. And one of the things that Nabal does in marriages is to make sure you are not financially free. You will find that because they are extremely jealous. Extremely. Anything that gives you money, they want to attack it. They want to attack because they want everyone around them to be dependent on them, especially their spouse. If you are a man and your wife is a Nabal, you will find out that your finances should be attacking it. Anytime money enters your hand, she will stop bringing her own money. Because he's working with a demonic spirit. It will sense when money enters your hands. That is when they will start complaining about money. That is when they start complaining about, they can complain to Africa. They are chronic complainers. And as they complain, because of your good understanding, the kind of heart you have is not the kind of heart you keep spending. So you find that when you are married to a difficult person, you are always the one giving. You keep giving. You give your time, you give your energy, you give your strength, you give your life, you give your blood. You keep giving. And the more you give, you will never be enough. Once you spend the last kobo, they will start from where they stopped before. They will start doing the normal thing because you are not dealing with a physical thing anymore. It's not about flesh and blood anymore. You are dealing with a demonic spirit whose mission is to make sure you hate everything that has to do with marriage. And most times, most people that married a difficult spouse, they end up being a chauvinist. If he's a man, he will hate women with everything in him. If he's a man, he will hate women. If he's a woman, he will hate men. Because that's what the spirit does. He makes sure by the time they are done with you, you will despise anything that represents marriage and the opposite sex. Praise the Lord. So if we keep going on and on, we'll now find out that by the time, to tell you that when you pray a prayer of rescue, God knows how to rescue you in that marriage. He knows how to rescue you. He knows what to do. Because physically wise, there is nothing you can do to change that kind of a person. There is nothing except the prayer of rescue. God knows how to rescue you, either by rescuing you, by giving them a new heart. You know, God knows how to deal with a fool. It's only God that can handle a fool. You as a person, you can't. There is nothing you and I can do. Why? They don't like knowledge. So how can you help someone who despises knowledge? How can you help someone who cannot listen to you? How can you help someone who does not believe you have what it takes? How can you help someone who does not believe they are wrong? Because for repentance to actually come in, there must be a place of acceptance of wrongdoing. It is when you accept wrongs, that is when you can keep your mind open to accept whatever correction that is coming. But Nabals don't take corrections. So now look at what happened here. When Abigail came back, imagine when Abigail, and the fourth thing again on dealing with a difficult spouse, please, is not everything you share with them. I know some will come from my head. They say, how do you mean? I thought they say the marriage don't keep secrets. No, I used to teach this. You don't tell people things that they don't have the capacity to endure. They don't have the capacity to take. Truth comes with capacity. There are people whose capacity cannot handle some certain truths. There are people whose capacity cannot handle the secrets you're about to share with them. That's why when Abraham was told to go and sacrifice Isaac, he didn't tell Sarah. Not that Sarah is not a good woman. Not that Sarah is not a born again. No, she doesn't have the capacity to carry that kind of news. So telling her will even jeopardize Abraham heeding to the will of God or obeying God in his instructions. Okay, so when you share everything with a neighbor, you are signing your death warrant. Imagine Abigail going to the same neighbor to give her a consent to go and appease David. Do you think he will allow her? He won't. So that's why if you're married to a difficult person, be careful the things you share with them. It's not wrong, it's wisdom. Be careful of the things. So Abigail, when Abigail was going there, she made sure Nabal was not aware that she even went out. You can imagine the man whose wife went on such a journey, he doesn't know and he doesn't care. Until she came back, only for her to come back and meet the man partying. Please go and read it. It's there in the Bible. He was partying. In fact, he was partying and marrying like a king. That the state he was, the wife couldn't tell him anything because he was dead drunk. Meaning, whether the wife went out and come in is none of his. He doesn't care. If the wife travels and dies on the way, he will not mourn her because nothing That spirit will make sure nobody occupies any space in their heart. In the morning, Abigail now went to him and told him what she did, everything. Guess what? He was shocked that he turned into a stone. Why? He was shocked that the woman, that they are big girl, because if I keep using woman now, everybody would think I mean man, that that is only men that are Nabals. No. So immediately Abigail told Nabal all that she did. Nabal became stone cold. He was shocked to the bone. In fact, the shock made him paralyzed. Why? He could not believe that Abigail have that kind of influence. He could not believe that Abigail could build that kind of tentacle. He knew that David is something. He knew that any man that reckons with David has reckoned with God. So how did Abigail knew how to approach David? That means for Abigail to have done this, he has David as a backup. You know, one thing about demonic spirits is if they know that you have a stronger backup, they become afraid of you. He now saw that Abigail, not only does he have the backup of David, that every servant in his house stand with her. All his servants, none told him what was going on because they don't like him. And that discovery shocked him. And the Bible recorded 9 days later, God struck him to death. You see, Abigail prayed a prayer of rescue. I'm not saying that your difficult spouse will die. You please, before you say that that she preached that every difficult spouse will die, you will not be waiting for your spouse to die. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that rescue can come in so many ways. The truth of the matter, some people that they are there, you don't know how God will rescue you. So when you pray a prayer of rescue, trust God to take care of it. God knows the end from the beginning. He knows how to rescue you. He knows how to handle you, handle your situation. The ninth day, what happened? Immediately, Nabal died. The next thing, David sent for her. And she became a wife to David. So what am I trying to say? So dealing with a difficult spouse, I've mentioned it, dealing with a difficult spouse is number one, understand that they are not majority of times conscious of what they are doing. There is a demonic spirit behind it, a very wicked spirit. I call it the spirit of Belial. Okay? It's a spirit of Belial. Is a spirit that enters marriage to frustrate people in marriage. Their mentally, it affects their psychology. It messes them up. And that spirit also can manifest as depression, anxiety. Okay? Anything that is abnormal is not normal. Anything that is abnormal is not normal. So, which brings us to the end of it. A difficult person is a person that is under the bondage of demonic and is a person that is not mentally okay. Let's call it what it is. You are dealing with a mentally challenged person. And whatever it is that they are doing that normal people do, they do it in excess. If it's fashion, their fashion will go overboard. Everything about them is always on the excessive side. They are always, if it's about dressing, they dress excessively. Everything about them, they are obsessed. There must be something they are obsessed with. That spirit cannot work without obsession. That's why they are a very greedy people. They are very greedy, extremely greedy in their dealings. And they are very good in criticism. Anything you tell them, there is something to criticize about that. And what are the effects of living or marrying a difficult person? Number one, you'll be drained. It will drain you. Yes. It will drain you. Seriously. You'll be drained. It will drain you of your energy. Your energy, your time. You find out that at all times you have brain fag. You are tired. You are exhausted because at every point in time in your life, you're mentally alert, psychologically alert, emotionally alert. There's nothing like breathe down. You always you breathe up. It doesn't come down because as you're thinking for yourself, you're thinking for them. You're watching out for them, doing other things. Yeah, is draining. It does what? It drains. You'll be drained. Secondly, you'll find yourself losing who you are. You'll now find out that you are adopting all manner of character just to adjust, just to fit in. You find out that the person you are, you feel trapped on the inside. You know that the real you, this is not the you that is functioning, that the real you is somewhere, that you have become what you don't know anymore. You can't explain who you are because at every time, because a difficult person is not static. They changes like the waves of the water. They changes. The next minute they want you to be white. The next second they want black. The next minute. So you find out because you're flexible, okay? Because you're flexible, you want peace. You are a lover of peace. You always want to change to whatever it is that can bring in peace in your marriage. You'll be changing at a time you will lose who you are. You will lose the touch of who you truly are. You will now start looking for yourself. That's why I said when you divorce from them, it will take you a long while to entangle yourself. The third again, you will start losing your spiritual energy. You start losing yourself spiritually. You find out that you can't pray the way you used to pray. Your spiritual gifts, you'll be losing it. Because any gifts that you don't use, you will start dying. You find yourself that spiritually you are weak. You'll be weak spiritually. Because once your energy is drained, it affects your spiritual life. You can't pray the way you used to pray. Your gift will be dying. You can't see what God is showing you. Whenever you open your Bible to study, you find yourself you don't have the energy to stay put and read and study. You can't pray long hours. You understand me, okay? And the next thing it does to you is you find yourself keeping secrets among people that trust you. You find yourself because you don't want to disclose things that can damage your marriage or damage your reputation of your family and all that. You find yourself keeping secrets, and that secret will be eating you up. The people who are supposed to open up to you couldn't open up to them. So these are the things it does. Okay, and then the final thing is you become a burden to people that truly loves you. You become a burden because when they look at you, they know you are suffering. They know you are going through things. It burdens them. It burdens their hearts. But because they can't force you to take a decision, it burdens them. It burdens the people that loves you so much. It burdens them. They pity you, they feel for you. They stand in for you. They want to help you, but they don't know how. And if you have children, let me tell you the risk of it all. It will affect the psychology of your children. That is the truth. Because whatever it is your spouse is, your children are seeing it. Why? Your children are in the spirit, they are adults. It's only their physical body that is at the age that they are. So whatever that is going on around them, they know, they see it, they feel the energy, the toxicity that comes with a difficult spouse. They sense this toxicity in the air, and they see the stress that toxicity is causing you, and it will be affecting them as well, because as they are treating you the way they are treating you, it will be affecting the children. Before you know it, it will influence their character. It will influence their choices in life. It will influence the way they communicate with people. And it will also influence their choices in relationships. So if you listen to this message and you feel you're married to a difficult spouse, please, I would like you to chat me up.